Well, good morning. April 26th today, Sunday morning. And again, I want to invite you at 10:30 to come and join us for worship on Facebook Live. We're still not gathering. We're still seeing how they open things up and when. So we're praying for that, and we're praying for it to be soon. But again, we want to be safe and be smart about everything. So now our church, we're probably in a little different situation than a lot of the bigger churches, because we're able to spread out and do that. So I'm really praying and hoping they do that soon, so we can gather and be together once again. But we're starting out with 1 Kings today. We ended up with 2 Samuel yesterday, but entering into 1 Kings, it's kind of a continuation, the narrative of the books here, of the history, and really shows us the dynamics of what's going on at the time. These whole books ran from about 400 years is what I read, and it's quite interesting seeing the different kings and different people that are placed in control, and really how people are seeking that power that those self-appointed people to take the reign. But as we start out with 1 Kings, we're still seeing David. He's pretty much on his deathbed, and it even says that he's having a hard time keeping warm. And again, David's only about 70 years old. But what we talked about yesterday, his whole reign. He was one of these guys who has his foot on the gas pedal all the time, and so he did a lot of things in a short period of time. Because again, 70 isn't a real old age, at the time or today. Somebody who's 70 today is really pretty young yet. So. Anyways, we see David on his deathbed, and he's so sick that he can't keep his body temperature warm, and so what I read, basically they sent for the attendants, it says, and I'm guessing that they were more like doctors. But they called and it was kind of tradition at the time for this particular thing is to have body heat, someone to help keep it warm. And I don't know, maybe I'm speculating here, but I can tell guys were in control of this because they just didn't get a warm body. They went out and found a beautiful young woman to accompany David, and it wasn't anything physical. It says that he didn't really have any relationships with her, sexual relationships at all. It was a matter of keeping her warm. So they brought her in for a particular job. But we see David on his deathbed, and what happens when the king or someone who's in authority goes down, there's a lapse in leadership. In Adonijah, we're seeing him kind of again trying to step in and take over the king the throne, and Nathan, he goes to Bathsheba and says, Solomon was promised the throne, and you need to go and talk to David about this. But Adonijah, he's down there already, again, self-proclaiming and slaughtering the fatted calf and doing the things that he thinks he needs to do in order to take over the throne. But David finally, because Nathan, he kind of raised Solomon, underneath his teachings, and so he had an invested interest in Solomon, and he knew what was supposed to happen, And so, if you do the study of Solomon, we see a lot of wisdom with him, and we're going to hear about that later in the chapters. But Solomon, he was a great leader. I mean, some of the background here, the wealth became very wealthy area. He was very wise in his leadership. He built the first temple in Jerusalem. So these are things that we're going to see kind of building on it. But Solomon, and really why that the young gal who was given to David to keep warm is really important, because I look at Scripture that everything that's put in here is for a reason. And Abishag was the young gal, and later down the road we see Adonijah. Solomon finally took the throne, the kingdom, and as a king, and he was anointed, with oil and presented as a king, and the people acknowledge him. And Solomon told him, basically, if you behave yourself, I won't kill you. But if you don't, you're going down. And what Adonijah did was go to Bathsheba and say, go to King Solomon and tell him that I want this Abishag, the young gal who went in and kept David warm, because again he was trying to go around things in order to get certain things from the king, and David had him put to death. So just some real deceptive behaviors going on here again, but also the establishment of King Solomon into the throne. So these are really good historical books that we're reading and talking about. And again, Solomon, very famous, very well known through Scripture. So I hope you enjoy the books of First King. And again, the kings, these were all one book at one time, and they split them up. When they put the Bible together. So, it reads as that historical book, that document. So, enjoy that Scripture as we get into that. But again, I want to encourage you to come and join us at 10:30. And if you're not able to get it at 10:30, it's obviously going to be online. Again, be praying for a time that we can gather again. But in the meantime, let me know if you have any prayer requests, any concerns, any needs. Let me know. God bless you all, and have a great day in the Lord's house, even though you're at home.